is my Hall of Fame friend. I've known him forever and a day, and thrilled that he's going to be with us every single Wednesday during the football season on the Rich Eisen Show. Everybody check out his QB Confidential, the channel that he has on YouTube, and also thrilled that I got a chance to call the Chiefs Chargers on YouTube with Kurt Warner. Good to see you here, sir. Let's just jump right in because you called the Monday night game on Westwood One Radio. Yep. The fourth quarter for J.J. McCarthy, or every other drive for Caleb Williams, not the first drive. Which is the quarterback we might see moving forward more likely? J.J. McCarthy fourth quarter, or Caleb Williams outside of the first 15 scripted, Kurt Warner?
Yeah, I mean, let's hope both. But, you know, I will say, I thought Caleb played a really good game for what was available to him. I thought his game, just in terms of the level of difficulty between these two guys, his was way harder than JJ's was. But I did love the definitive way that JJ attacked in the fourth quarter, and some of the throws down the field and his comfort level in the pocket. So I still want to see more growth from Caleb. So I'm going to lean towards JJ McCarthy on this one, that he got settled in. And I just liked his demeanor throughout the game, even though, you know, it wasn't easy and there wasn't a lot available to him early in the game and wasn't making many throws. He kind of hung in there and made some really definitive big-time throws down the stretch.
Okay, and so what do you think are his strong suits? Having watched the tape now, I'm sure you have watched the all-22 of McCarthy. Yeah. What do you think?
You know, I think the first thing is, you know, the mental part of it. I think when you hear people talk about JJ, that's one thing they talked about anyways, is kind of mental toughness. Having that pick six and the struggles early and nothing really going your way, no real throws out there for you, to kind of fight through all that, be down by, you know, 2 scores in the fourth quarter and not really blink and attack, I think is probably the biggest thing. You know, there was some speculation too. You know, heard some people talk that maybe Justin Jefferson was short on that out route that JJ threw to him that turned into a pick six. So maybe it was a mistake by the wide receiver. I don't have anything to verify that, but you know, I use that to say, you know, because the footwork of JJ didn't mesh with the route of the other JJ. Now there's a lot of quarterbacks in the league that will take that longer footwork on shorter throws. So I don't know that for sure. And we might never know because I'm sure JJ McCarthy's not going to come out and say it was his fault, or, you know, Kevin O'Connell. If it was, it would probably have to come down to Justin Jefferson saying, you know what, I was short on that. And I hurt the kid with that. But I don't know if we'll ever know. But, you know, just looking at the footwork to the route. So I'm just throwing that out there because, like, if that was the case, and so now you're on a big stage and now you throw a pick six and now everybody's saying, oh, you know, boo, JJ. And if it wasn't even your fault, to kind of have that mental fortitude to bounce back. And I thought his first touchdown pass was a phenomenal throw, a lot of bodies in the middle, and to drive that in there. And maybe even the turning point for me of the whole game was the last throw of the first half that he made, that deep crossing throw. I have no idea why Chicago was playing man-to-man in that situation, but they left man-to-man, and they didn't hesitate. They called the pass play, and he drove that deep over that ended up getting 3 points before the half. And I thought that's when things really turned around for him. But we saw some, you know, really good kind of laser throws. That was something he was good at Michigan, as you know. I thought, you know, he needs to work on his touch a little bit, but he can definitely drive the football. And we saw some really good drive throws in this game. So I believe those kind of throws will also be his strength physically moving forward.
Kurt Warner here on the Rich Eisen Show. As for Caleb Williams, what I'm about to say is, from my opinion, the fans' point of view, and might be offensive to somebody with your mentality and resume and knowing you, okay? But seeing McCarthy grow, drop his Huggies, if you will, in the fourth quarter, and then watching Caleb go through many of the similar issues as he had last year, gets Bears fans freaked out, man, that he's the one coming after the game saying, you know, it's growth, we're growing. Yeah. And then we watch somebody grow up in one quarter, not saying that J.J. McCarthy's now a Pro Bowler, but the result is enough to crystallize this opinion. And people are freaking out that Ben Johnson isn't going to figure it out with Caleb Williams and vice versa. Your thoughts on that? Kurt Warner?
Well, let me just first say, as I kind of mentioned there, is that the level of difficulty for J.J. McCarthy in this game was way, way lower than the level of difficulty for Caleb Williams.
First start in Chicago on Monday Night Football.
I'm simply talking about the way the game played out, the plays that were called, the throws that they had to make. It was just easier for JJ, with all the things. Like you said, he didn't even have to do anything till the fourth quarter and still had a chance. Like, how many times can you play a game where you really don't do anything as the quarterback until the fourth quarter and you still got a chance to win that game? I thought for Caleb, it was hard work all night long. I have, Twitter people telling me, oh my gosh, he had guys wide open all game long. And you already mentioned my YouTube page, but, I already broke down the first half and posted it on my QB Confidential YouTube page. Second half is coming later today. And you can get my breakdown of what Caleb was looking at and what he did in that game. So I thought he played a really, really good game. Now, I say all that to say I still have questions about Caleb. There were things in the game or things that I saw that, continue to lend themselves to my opinion that he's got a long way to go in terms of settling down, slowing the game down, playing at the pace that he needs to play, seeing things and slowing the mental processes down. I felt, more than I saw that, like when you watch the tape, I didn't see necessarily a lot of that in terms of, he was getting through some reads and he was getting to his third and fourth guy at times, but I just felt it by kind of his body language in the pocket where I just want to see that kind of settle down and slow down and make me feel as if he's really comfortable with what they're asking him to do. But I thought he played a really, really good game. And if you are a football nut and you want to go see what I'm talking about, I'll show you the tape. And there was not a lot of opportunities for him down the field to make plays. And his number one receiver wasn't open a lot in this game. And I thought he did a lot of really, really good things. And, what's been accentuated, of course, and it makes sense, is some critical throws, right? The fourth down throw, got to make it, right? I mean, that was one of the most open throws he had all night long, and he just missed it. Another one to Cole Kmet, down kind of close to the red zone, another open throw that he missed. So there were some key throws that he missed in the game, and I think that's why everybody's looking and panicking. But if you look at the body of work, I thought he played a really, really solid game.
Okay. QB Confidential is the name of Kurt Warner's YouTube channel. Everybody check it out. He's here on the Rich Eisen Show every single Wednesday. We might dub this Warner Wednesdays. Who knows? We're all flying by the seat of our pants. So you just saying, hey, check out my YouTube channel. Caleb didn't play as bad of a game as he's being criticized for. Who then, based on your viewing on everything, had the best quarterback performance of Week 1 that folks might need to hear from you about, Kurt?
I mean, if we're just looking at the best quarterback performance, probably snap in to snap out, I might say Daniel Jones. I thought Daniel Jones played an excellent football game. That they weren't stopped all day long. They scored on every single drive. He made, some big throws. He managed things really well, just in terms of lack of mistakes, and making the things that were there to be made, playing the position. He might have been the best of the weekend. And we had some great performances Sunday night. I thought both those quarterbacks did a lot of really, really good things in the game. Another quarterback that I really like that a lot of people aren't talking about is Michael Penix. I thought Michael Penix played a really, really good game as well. So there were some good performances in the league. But, yeah, Daniel Jones, if I just had to rank them from top to bottom on their play, it might be number one for me.
Daniel Jones, best quarterback performance of the week. Kurt, blink twice if you're in trouble. No, because obviously,
I know.
That is,
I know.
We saw his last game as a Giant. We called it in Munich last year, and obviously he wasn't the ultimate reason why they lost the game, but we also understood when the Giants were like, "This is it." So it's great to hear that. In that game, though, Tua, what did you see from Tua that might concern you and the Dolphins moving forward, Kurt?
Yeah, I've made this take numerous times about Miami. Like, there's some things that Tua does at an elite level. He's got elite accuracy. He's got great anticipation. His ability to kind of find holes and throw guys open, I think, is really, really unique. But I've made this take about the Miami pass offense for years, is I think it's really hard on a quarterback because, and, I could kind of lump it in, with San Francisco, that their mindset coming from kind of the Kyle Shanahan background is we're going to design everything up front to get our first receiver open. And they do that a lot. They scheme their first guy open, and that's what we see quite often in Miami. And Tua is so good at getting the ball to his first guy, and that stuff's great. But once somebody takes away your number one read, I don't really like the way the pass game is built. The pass concepts are built to get to number two and number three. And what I mean by that is that those number two and number three receivers are not always directly connected to number one. So you hear me talk about it all the time, pure progression versus defender read defense. Or pass concept. So as a quarterback, what I want to do is, let's say I have an 18-yard in route. That's one of my guys. And then underneath it in the same zone, I'll have a 5 or 6 yard hook route. And so if number one's not open because the defender drops deep, then I know number two is going to be open because we're attacking that one defender and he can't cover both of the guys. And so I like to build pass concepts that put a defender in conflict. So as a quarterback, I know it's one, and then two is going to be open. And then if the next guy squeezes two, then I've got number three that's replacing that guy that squeezes. So now I can go directly to number three, and it all lines up. In the Miami offense, it's not always like that. We're doing everything with everybody else to get number one open. We're going to do a great job of getting number one open, and they do. But once number one is covered, 2 and 3 and beyond aren't always directly connected to number one. So it makes it hard for a quarterback when number one's not open to work through his progressions and know where he's going to go and find an open guy. And so that's why, to me, I don't know. Tua may struggle getting to 2, 3, and 4 because he often struggles in that offense doing it. But as a quarterback that watches it, I look and go, man, that's really tough too. Like it's hard to get there. It's hard to know where you're going next or what the next option is, based off of how they took number one away in that offense. So he didn't look very good. Their offense didn't look very good, but we've seen this at a number of times, since Mike McDaniel's been there. We've seen some unbelievable performances where number one gets open a lot and Tua, makes number one open a lot with his accuracy in throwing. And then we've seen games where number one's not open a lot and it looks maybe not this bad, but it's looked bad at times. And so to me, something has to change in that regard. And I know it's hard because, it's a system that has done a great job of creating that number one shot over and over and over again. But it's really, really hard on a quarterback when that's not there or that's not there throughout the course of a day. And you're trying to play makeup sometimes for the scheme, in my opinion.
Kurt Warner here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's turn the page a little bit here. The Lions taking on the Bears you just saw, and Ben Johnson coming in, and, the narrative about the Lions season, they're going to miss their coordinators. That wasn't erased off of the narrative chalkboard in Green Bay on Sunday, Kurt. And so what did you see from Goff and this Lions offense that might make you think, they kind of do miss Ben Johnson? Or is that a Packers defense that we're going to learn is going to make offenses look bad all season long, Kurt?
Well, let's say Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, because to me, this was just as bad defensively as it was offensively. Like, I'm watching this tape, and I didn't even think Green Bay did anything fancy. They had simple, sometimes 2-man routes, and they had guys wide open all over the place. Like, I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on because, it was just the simplest, most basic concepts, and it was just over and over again. There's a wide open guy, and there's a wide open guy, and there's a wide open guy. So defensively, they weren't good. They weren't able to get any pressure, which is always a concern for them, even with Hutchback, and they were giving up big plays, and it was easy big plays. And so I was worried about the defense. Now let's flip to the offense like you're talking about. And, I thought there was a couple things. First, they didn't run the ball. It's always been built off running the football, and they couldn't get anything going running the football. I thought they got manhandled up front most of the day, whether it was run or pass. And I did think there were some opportunities for Jared Goff down the field, but I felt he was uneasy in the pocket. And, I understand there were a lot of bodies around him most of the day, so I understand having played the position, how easy it is to get uneasy, when you're playing in a game like that. But there were some opportunities down the field that he didn't take. Thought he was a little bit tentative or getting to his check downs a little bit quickly. So I think it was a good performance at any facet of that team. They didn't look anything close to what they were last year. So I'm fully concerned about, the way they looked in week one. Now, I think Green Bay is a good football team. I think they're better than Chicago. And so some of it could surely be, who Green Bay is that made Detroit look as bad as they did. But there was a lot of issues on Sunday all over the place. I could point at every position on that football team, and they looked like a completely different team.
And then you have the Steelers and the Jets last week, and the Jets are taking on the Bills this week. The Steelers are taking on Seattle. Your choice of which quarterback, you can only choose one. It's Sports Talk Radio. It's like a topic bar on Sunday, game day morning, Kurt. Rodgers moving forward, Justin Fields moving forward, who looks just like we saw in week one, certainly against these tough opponents they're facing this weekend.
Yeah, I'll just say, Rich, I wasn't in love with either one of their performances as much as the national media is when you go back and watch it. Now, both did some good things. I mean, Aaron throws 4 touchdown passes. Obviously, Justin did some really good things as well. But I still I think there's some flaws there. That Aaron, most of his big plays came off of naked bootlegs, which we talked about on game day morning. That's going to be a part of what they do. Aaron's very, very good at that. But it wasn't, when he had to drop back and play the position like we saw when he was an MVP, I thought he was very uneasy in the pocket, looking to get to his checkdowns very quickly, some of the things that we had seen a little bit in the past. And then when he got out in space where he felt really comfortable, he was awesome. So I expect them to do more of that. And so I'm probably going to lean towards Aaron in just the scheme and just knowing, what he's capable of as a quarterback, him moving forward. Justin, I thought, had a good game. I still felt like, he was behind a little bit with, the timing and seeing some things throwing the football, even though he's a tremendous playmaker. And when he was on the move and throwing the ball, or when he was on the move and running the ball, he was doing Justin Fields type stuff. I just don't know, and again, he's run for over 1,000 yards in a season. So to say that I don't know if he can do that every week is probably crazy to say, but I just need to see more from him when a team takes some of that away. I mean, Pittsburgh defense, didn't play very well. They were able to do whatever they wanted, really, the Jets. But I want to see more of, is there growth as a pocket passer, and when he's got to carry them more by reading it and throwing it than I saw in this first game. So to your question, I'll lean towards Aaron Rodgers, although hopefully, all that stuff that Justin does really, really well, he's made some growth in the drop back area as well. And we'll see a good Jets product the rest of the year.
And to finish up, to be fair and balanced to our New York listening audience on ESPN Radio, is it fair to say that Russell Wilson needs to beat the Giants need to beat the Cowboys in order for Jaxson Dart to not be put in? Or what did you see to make you think, don't put a rookie here yet? Yeah. What's going through Brian Daboll's head is just, I guess, the overarching question here, Kurt. Do you think?
I would say that's what I saw. Is I didn't see a very good performance by their offense. And this wasn't just about Russell Wilson. Again, it wasn't like the Caleb situation where there are guys running free all over the place and Russell just can't get it to him, or Russell just can't see them. That wasn't the case. I was really disappointed kind of with what I saw from their offense. I don't know. I love Coach Daboll. I think he's very creative. And I just didn't see that in this game. And, maybe that was circumstantial because of, situations they found themselves in or whatever. But I just didn't like their offense performance. And you can have your feelings about who Russell is at this point in his career. I have, my opinions on that. But this wasn't, to me, a game where if you put another quarterback in there, this looks completely different based on how it played out. Now, I'll say the caveat to that is, if you believe Russell Wilson is a certain kind of player now and is not as creative and is not as athletic as he used to be, and this is the product that you think you're going to have every time out, where it's going to be a struggle for guys to separate, and you're not going to have a bunch of guys wide open, and you believe Jaxson Dart in his youth can bring a little more to the table than Russell Wilson can, that's a different story. If you believe he can do some things when the scheme doesn't open it up for him, that Jaxson Dart can do some things for your football team, and Russell can't at this stage in his career, now I think you may consider that part of it. And again, I'm not sure Jaxson Dart is necessarily that guy that's going to live in the athletic world, but we know he's got the ability to create and make some plays on the move. I just kind of see Russell and him in similar fashion in terms of, how they're doing that, at this stage. But that to me is the real question, is that I don't think you throw him in there if you expect this to be what your offense is for the next few weeks against these good football teams. But if you're saying this is all we're going to have, and, Russell's just not in a position at this career to create and give us some extra, maybe that's when you make that decision and say, hey, we're going to go to Jaxson because we think we get a little bit more in that regard.
You're the man, Kurt. I'll see you on Sunday on NFL Game Day
morning.
All right, buddy. Get some rest, man. Hydrate. Get some rest. We'll chat soon.
All right, pal.
That's Kurt Warner, and that just scratches the surface of what he gives you on his YouTube channel, QB Confidential. Go check it out on YouTube. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app, 12 to 3 Eastern.